a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
This episode contains conversations about fantasy suicidal ideation. Honestly, it's Twilight New Moon, y'all, so it's like Edward Cullen, going into the square to sparkle, and a bit of an unhealthy romanticization of Romeo and Juliet. So the conversations are lighthearted, but they are there.
Some listeners may prefer not to listen to this episode today, or at all. Life is too short to listen to content that makes you feel uncomfortable. Take care of yourself. Love you, bestie.
I'm Christina Kahn.
And I'm Leela Hilton.
And this is Burn Before Reading, the podcast about literature.
Hey! Speaking of, here we are again to talk about the terrible writing we did when we were younger and discuss some other key cringy literary topics. I think it's about that time, Tina.
What time is it?
It's the new year! Happy New Moon. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yep. Hopefully you guys got through the holidays with minimal duress.
Yeah.
And, ready to start the year off strong.
Yep, I know Leela and I are starting it off strong by probably staying in bed all day because we're very hungover. Just a guess.
Yep, that's going to be accurate. So, and maybe we'll listen to this episode.
Yeah, aw.
To soothe us.
Leela, do you have your kazoo?
God, I can't wait, Jason may have moved it. He did. He moved it. There's no telling where it is. I do have this.
Okay, that's quite enough. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
I'm no Tina, but...
Leela, do you have any New Year's resolutions this year?
Yeah, this year I am... It's kind of like a cliche one, but I'm going to be trying really hard continuing my fitness journey from 2024 into this year to try to really, really get strong and... drop a couple lbs, but mostly my goal is to just get stronger and continue to work on my balance. That's my
my
two goals.
I am so proud of you. That is awesome.
Thanks. What about you?
My resolution for 2025 is insane. I can't believe I'm doing this.
What?
I vow to not buy any books all year.
Oh my God.
I know, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Can you set a goal? Like if you get through a certain amount of your shelf, then maybe?
I don't know, man. I'm really trying to get better about not buying books.
Yeah.
And I really want to get in a habit of not buying a book until I have read it from the library. And then if I love it so much, I simply will read it again. Then I buy it at that time instead of buying it to begin with, because I think I will ever want to read it once,
Yeah.
And that does not include gifts for friends, okay, because I do buy books for friends all the time. And it doesn't include free books like I do paperback swap online and little free libraries. I'm allowed to obtain them freely.
Yeah. Okay.
I have over 100 books that I have not read on these shelves behind me, and I read about 100 books a year, so I should be able to put a pretty significant dent in that next year.
Yeah.
That's
and that'll
my
feel
goal.
really good,
Yes.
to actually, get through your, what is it called? TBR?
TBR. And especially since I'm, renting an apartment now and I'll eventually move again, I would love to not move books again.
Oh, my God.
That I
bet
don't
that
even know if I like them,
Yeah. Was
does
that, the hardest part?
Yeah, but I've learned over the years how to... how to move books. You get liquor boxes because they're smaller.
Sturdy.
And then you just have a lot of them. Yeah.
Tina, what's been cringing you out this week?
I haven't had a ton of cringe lately. Nothing good. So I'm going to tell a historic cringe, something that happened to me when I was young.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
And it's New Year's themed.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay, when I was in 6th grade, I had a boyfriend, And I put it in quotes because I was 11. Okay. Right when I turned like 9 or 10, right around that time, my mom gave me the talk. I had no inkling whatsoever of sex until I was like probably 10. My mom gave me the talk, and that rocked my world.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. So I was 11 and I had this boyfriend. He took me to see Two Towers and gave me a giant stuffed bear for Christmas. That was our whole relationship.
Okay.
And I got invited to his house for a New Year's party. My mom called his mom Classic to see what was up, and come to find out that the whole party was me and him and his 17-year-old brother and his brother's girlfriend. That was the whole party.
Okay.
Nobody else was invited. It was a calm evening. And so, and I believe I've told you this before, but in order to mentally prepare me for this, my mother and my father sat me down in our sunroom, which is a room that we had in our rich people house, to explain to me what oral sex was, to make sure that I wouldn't accidentally do that, not knowing that it also counted as sex. Now, mind you, I had not kissed this boy yet, let alone kissed his penis. And my mom, I think, had her like leftover Catholic schoolgirl cringe, or like she for whatever reason, my dad's the one who did this to me. He sat there, and I remember sitting on that couch with both of my parents looking at me, talking about blowjobs to my face, and I was just sobbing from embarrassment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really rough. It's really rough.
I don't think we even kissed that night because we were 11.
Yeah. I would be like, don't get near me. Don't get your dirty penis near me.
Get your dirty penis away from my mouth.
Yeah.
That is my cringe. A real good throwback one.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a solid one.
Thank you. Leela, what's cringing you out this week?
I, too, have had a pretty happy couple of weeks recently. I know. Look at us. Great for us. Bad for content.
True. Why don't you try to just like eat shit in the front yard or something?
I know. When I try, I can't do it. You know, it comes naturally.
You're changing. You're changing so much.
Yeah, it's all those squats. But that's not even that embarrassing. And the thing is, I feel like I've told you all my past embarrassing stories. But hey, maybe I'll share them. And if you guys have heard it already, just leave us a comment somewhere. So one of my like right around the same time crushes, like around like 11, I think, or 12, that I had was this boy, Wesley, at my church.
Wesley.
Yes. He was tall. Can you believe it? He was tall and blonde. Like a string bean, and probably. And I'm sure he played some instrument in the band. I'm sure. That's probably how I knew him. And I really liked him, and I told my mom, and my mom has messed stuff like this up for me before by telling me things like this are okay to do. So she said, why don't you ask him out? And I said, well, I'm kind of scared. Isn't that like bad? Like in the church, you know? And she's like, no, it's fine. Like just give him hints. And then if he doesn't take the hint, just ask him out. And I was like, okay. And she's like, and this is how you'll do it. Make him a gift basket.
Oh.
And put in it freshly baked cookies. Find out what a couple of his favorite things are, and we'll make him a nice card and like some little trinkets to remember you by.
Whoa, okay.
And I showed up to my church and gave it to him kind of in public.
Oh, God. Okay.
And he was like, I'm really sorry. I do not feel that way about you. And
Leela.
I was absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I realized you can like someone too much.
Oh my God. Okay. Wow. Thank you for bearing your soul. That was really moving.
Thank you.
Are we ready to talk about today's subject matter?
I am ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm fucking ready. We're talking about new moon, new year, new moon, new year, new moon. Ever since I reread this book, every time I go outside and I look at the moon, I'm like, new moon, which is funny because if you're looking at the moon, that's the only time it's not a new moon.
Yeah. That's why it's called New Moon.
Because he's not even there.
Yeah.
He's not even there. All right, let me pull up my notes. I texted Leela when I finished reading this a couple days ago. I sat down on my computer and typed furiously.
I'm glad you did.
Don't talk while you're yawning.
I'm glad you did.
And also, the last time I told you don't talk while you're yawning, I left it in the audio because I'm going to publicly shame you into stopping talking while you're yawning.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. I still love you. You just gotta stop it.
All right.
Okay, so Leela, how was your experience rereading New Moon?
It was a lot of fun. I do feel that Steph didn't need to make it almost 600 pages long, especially with
Seriously.
with all those extra bits at the end. There's a lot of repetitiveness in this book that didn't need to be there.
I certainly could have found places to cut it down.
Yeah.
Let me see. It is 563 pages. I could have gotten it down to probably 350.
All the way to the end of the ultimatum, which is after...
No, Leela.
You're not including that?
Look.
Huh?
Keep reading for a preview of Eclipse, and then it says Chapter 1, Ultimatum.
Oh... Okay.
That's Eclipse.
Great. I will not
Thank
worry
God.
about it then.
You can tell it's not part of the book because it doesn't have page numbers.
Yeah, you're right. I was like, where's the page number? You're right about that.
So I had a great time reading this. I mean, I just have always been Team Jacob.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the Renesmee thing when I say I'm Team Jacob. It's because I read New Moon when I was 15 and it changed my life. It changed my sexuality.
Yeah, same.
Which is I already thought I was straight. I was bisexual, but in terms of my attraction to men, I was like, oh wait, I can be really attracted to like a very specific kind of man.
New Moon made me straight.
Or yeah, New Moon made me straight. Exactly. And also, Edward fucking sucks. He only does like 2 things in this book and they suck.
God.
So,
I can't. And you know who else sucks? Fucking Beller.
Yeah, Beller. Okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Especially like being recently separated from my husband and just like thinking a lot about like what I want in this life and rereading this and remembering how horny I was in what year was this? 2006, so I was 15. I texted Leela and I was like, I'm not horny for a sophomore in high school, but the girl who was horny for Jacob Black still is inside of me
She's alive and
somewhere.
well. Yeah.
If I could have him at 38 years old, I'm only dating older men now, I've decided.
Oh, okay. I like that for you.
I would take it. Like, rereading this was so fun. Like, Bella and Edward's relationship in the first book is so lame compared to, I think, how fun Jacob makes everything.
I totally agree.
Okay. So where do you want to start? Do we want to start with Jacob or do we want to start somewhere?
So do you want to go on Wikipedia and just like read their like quick synopsis real quick and then we can like delve into...
Okay, yeah. I guess that maybe...
You know what I mean? Just,
maybe
let's
I'll
not
do
trust
the
us,
synopsis.
especially not me.
I'll do it. New Moon. At the beginning of New Moon, Edward breaks up with Bella for her own good because at her birthday, she gets a paper cut, draws blood. Jasper almost eats her. Okay. So Edward's like, I'm going to break up with you and my entire family is going to leave the area to protect you. And Bella goes catatonic for, I think, 4 October, November, December, January, February. I think it's 5 months.
Yeah.
I definitely put a tab in. Hold on, let me count. Let me find the right tab. January, February, March. I guess I didn't put a tab in. What? How is that possible? Christina. Well, you didn't put a tab in to February? Yep. Okay. No, you're right. We're about at synopses. So, she is like, he said it would be like, he was never here.
Yeah.
And I promised that I would be safe and take care of myself, but I haven't forgotten about him. It's not like he was never here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to break my promise and I'm going to do really dangerous stuff, even though I'm the clumsiest bitch on earth. And then in doing all this like really reckless shit, she starts hallucinating Edward's voice. And she is using Jacob to facilitate her doing all this reckless stuff because he's a fun kid. He's a fun, wild child. And he falls in love with her. He's, I think, 2 years younger than her. He falls in love with her. She's like, I'm not interested. He's like, I don't even care. I just like hanging out with you. That's fine. Like, whatever. And then we have this whole story arc with Jacob and the werewolves. Jacob is becoming a werewolf. He's like coming into it. We have this whole narrative arc with Jacob. And then the book comes to a slamming, smashing halt to have a completely unrelated finale where Edward tries to kill himself by sparkling in the town square in the city of Volterra. In the piazza, so that the Italian fucking vampire mob will tear him to shreds and kill him. So Bella has to get on a plane, abandoning the entire plot, which is annoying, but it's also fucking been 450 pages.
You're like, what are we doing here? Steph, what are we doing?
So then that happens, and then they go back, and Bella's like, oh yeah, this plot. Jacob, Edward, can we all just get along? And they're both like, no, but I guess so, because we both love you.
So hard to be in the middle between two hot monster boys.
I can't believe anyone was Team Edward. I can't put myself in the shoes of someone who's Team Edward.
I mean, just the language. We're going back to like all the abuse stuff we talked about in Twilight.
Yes.
I mean, just the language that Bella uses to describe sometimes how he grabs her. Like, she's like, I couldn't talk because he was holding my jaw too tight. I'm like, girl, that's not good, honey.
He like picks her up and she's like, put me down. And he's like, no. Which is terrifying.
Yeah. She's like, I know he could crush me, but I trusted him. And I'm like,
why?
Oh, Jacob would never hurt you. Okay, it's fine.
Exactly. Okay, so Jacob. We're going to start with Jacob. Okay, we're going to start with Jacob.
Let's go get into it.
What do we like about Jacob?
Okay. Off the bat, like, let's not go in, like, let's start with the not physical. Okay.
Okay, my first bullet on my list of why I like Team Jacob is that he's tall, dark, and handsome.
Okay, I mean, yes. Okay, so fine. We'll start with the physical.
Just get it out of the way.
So he's tall. He is dark. Some of the language to describe how he's dark is I don't love. Gotta be honest with you there.
She says the word russet 18 times.
She also says reddish brown skin.
Yeah, reddish brown. But she says russet 100 times, and then that when Bella's in the woods and she sees the werewolf and she's like, and he was russet. I'm like, bitch, come on.
I don't think she had a thesaurus, or maybe there's. I don't know. It's bad.
If we know he's Native American and you say that he has russet skin once, you're actually good. You don't have to say it again. We get it,
because that's a memorable adjective. And I gotta say, let's stick with Jacob for a second before I trail off. Okay, so we love that he's physically warm. He's a warm being.
He's physically warm.
Bella's like an annoying, skinny, cold bitch. So she
those things are separate. Okay, skinny people aren't inherently annoying. Those things are separate.
So because of that, she really is like, wow, it feels so nice. It's like amazing to have a warm body. And it's like, yeah, bitch, because you've been hugging cold marble this whole time.
Literally, yes. He's also figuratively warm. He's like, he has golden retriever energy, as they say.
Yeah, definitely.
He's so fun. He's so happy to see her. He loves to laugh. He loves to run around. He still is protective of her, but in like a non-threatening, very friendly, happy, consensual way.
It doesn't feel possessive.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but
okay, maybe a little.
Maybe it's because for the most part, it's like just the two of them. It doesn't feel possessive.
Yeah,
but think about how mean he is to Mike Newton that one time.
It's true. He was really mean to Mike Newton.
Bella somehow ends up on like a date by accident with Jacob and Mike Newton, the two boys she doesn't want, who want her so badly, and they both. I can't. This is my cringe of the week. Yeah. I can't like sit knowing this in my heart. Yes, Leela's doing it. Both of. Leela, when you were in high school and you would go on dates, would you or the boy put your hand up available on like the armrest, like
Absolutely.
hand up, like cupped?
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely remember that too. It's so funny because it's like so unnatural.
Yeah, it is.
And obviously I'm in my 30s. If I want to hold hands, I'm just going to grab that hand. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so she's in between these two guys, and they both have their hands up the whole time. It's just-
It's really bad. I mean, that is a nightmare. Like, I've gone to like someone's house or like watched a movie with someone where I didn't think it was going to be a date, and then like they think it's a date.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't a date at all. It was supposed to be a big group thing, and everyone got sick and bailed. This is when everyone has the flu. Mike ends the date by barfing everywhere.
Yeah, poor thing. Oh,
Poor
Mike.
I know, and Andrew, our beloved friend Andrew from... Oh, he was on the Dear Senior Admin episode. But he always jokes about how he's team Mike Newton because he literally is Mike Newton. And I'm like, Andrew, you can't go telling people you're team Mike Newton. That's so embarrassing.
That's so Mike Newton of him too. You know what I mean?
I know it is. I know Mike Newton would be team Andrew, you know?
Yeah, he would. Okay, and then Jacob just has a very warm personality. He is he's like a yes and friend. He's down for anything.
Totally is. Yeah.
He is always down to like adventure with Bella, even though she's like annoying and so accident prone.
Yeah, like he hasn't seen her in like 6 months, and she just shows up with 2 destroyed motorcycles and is like, do you want to get these running? And he's like, fucking yeah, let's start right now.
And she's like, what? And she's like, okay, but you can't tell your dad. And I'm like, and he's like,
I don't tell my dad anything. And okay, probably because he has a real dad and not like a 4-year older adoptive dad who did this to me because he needed a companion. Like,
God.
Carlisle.
Every time I think, I forgot about that. Every time I remember it, it makes my stomach hurt.
Speaking of the motorcycles, he has big hands and he is good with them.
Yeah, there's a lot of note of his hands.
Big hands. Yeah, he's mechanically intelligent, which I find like very attractive.
Yeah,
it's very
handy
practical.
Man.
He's handy as fuck. And he's very in touch with his feelings. He becomes more so like throughout the course of the book, but he is like constantly communicating how he feels in like a non-threatening, like very friendly, straightforward way.
I also find like the whole like I actually really enjoyed reading the werewolf arc. I mean,
yeah, I did too. That's why I was so mad about the fucking finale.
Come on, man! I don't want to. What are we doing? Drove me crazy. I kept screaming. I was listening to the audiobook, which, by the way,
it's easier to scream at an audiobook.
It is. The voice actor, whatever you want to call her, the narrator. She is doing her best. She doesn't do any voices. Which sometimes that's for the best.
It can be hard though when there's like a lot of characters.
Yeah, and the way that she says Bella's name is so fucking annoying. Like it sounds like she goes Bella. Oh, Bella, come over here, Bella. Something about it creeps me out.
I feel like she was coached to do that, like so that she didn't just be like Bella, like really
Bella.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, and it like kind of sounds. Sometimes it kind of sounds like Taylor Lautner's voice when he's like Bella, you know. It's like
I don't remember. We haven't done the movie yet.
Oh, but his voice is I wish it didn't sound like that. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Bless his heart.
Book Jason. Jason.
No.
Book Jacob has a hotter voice. Let's say.
Yeah. I love this kid. He reminds me a lot in the book version. Jacob does of this kid I went to prom with, who was younger than me.
Did he have russet skin?
He sure didn't, but he was really tall and he had really, really long, beautiful blonde hair.
Okay, yeah, wild child.
He was like a country boy and
love it.
Had like a truck and stuff, and it was really nice. But also because he was younger than me, I was always like, I think that's illegal, you know, like that's not okay. Because I mean, like 15 to 17 is significant. When you're 17, I guess it feels.
Yes. Well, and I think that's part of this is I think because Jacob, because perhaps he's raised in this like really insular community where he's exposed to his elders a lot, including also just like kids who are older than him. And I think because Bella is so emotionally underdeveloped and like kind of useless, they totally don't feel like there's an age difference at all. I don't think.
Like He seems much more mature than her, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll agree. The one thing that I don't really like about Jacob, I just got to say it, is, and this is very much of its time, is that Bella expresses that she's not interested in him and romantically, and he's like, that's fine, like, I'll wait.
Yeah.
On page 206, he says, quote, sometimes persistence pays off.
Yep. I don't love that.
But on the other hand, I don't say this lightly. Bella is giving vibes, and like the whole book she's trying to talk herself into wanting to be with him because she wants to be with him. So there's definitely he's not picking up nothing from something from nothing.
Yeah. He I say the thing is, like, yes, he is like, I'm very patient, like, I'm persistent, I'm not going to give up, which you're right, is of its time. That's kind of a little bit like what was expected.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Also she even kind of like holds him to that. Like she says a couple times, right, like, you're not going to give up on me, right? And like even when he doesn't talk to her anymore, like when she's in Italy, she's like, I haven't heard from him, but he promised he would wait for me. I'm like, wait for you? What are you talking about,
you're in Italy.
You're in Italy about to save your marble boy. Like,
now, granted, in high school, I played these exact same kind of games where I was like, I might pick you while I'm like not picking them. And then,
sorry,
Julie Liz headphones just fell all the way off. But like, I might pick you someday while I'm like not picking him. I'm picking someone else. And then if he gets mad at that, then I get to be victimized.
Yeah.
I definitely have played those games.
I mean, and it's like, the thing is, like, I mean, I'm not saying this is better, but like, you were at least like admitting that you were aware of it the whole time. Do you know what I mean? Like, versus playing this like, I not know nothing. I just little Bella. I don't know. Boys like me, but I not know why.
I know.
And it's like,
I
come
know.
on.
But I the whole time I just had to keep telling myself, like, read these exchanges as if you don't know that she gets Edward back. Because through the whole book, she's thinking she'll never ever see Edward again.
Yeah.
And so she is like, I kind of get her being like, if I had never fucking met Edward, I would be so into this guy right now. And I'm just like really holding out hope that like I will be able to like get there someday.
Yeah.
So like ultimately, do you think Bella is leading Jacob on throughout this book?
Yeah. Like the whole time.
The whole time she's leading him on.
Because
romantically.
Yeah, because even though there's like a couple passages where she's trying to like talk herself into it, I feel like even so, the whole time she's there, like her end goal is still just to do thrilling things so that she can hallucinate Edward. That's like all she cares about.
Yeah, it's true. And like at a certain point, she goes from using Jacob for these thrills to using him as an emotional crutch. Yeah, she is using him though the whole time.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he certainly doesn't know about like the weird thrill hallucinations, but he knows about he knows her very well. Like she even says like it's like he knows her thoughts or like picks up on things, and all he says is like, I just listen. I'm a good listener. And I was just like, oh my God, that was the hottest thing.
Again, this is 16-year-old Christina talking, but that is the hottest thing when I forget what detail it was, but she's like, oh, how did you know that? And he's like, you said it 6 months ago. I just listened. Like
Daddy.
Literally, have you heard that joke about how like the bar for straight girls is on the floor? Straight girls literally are like, I talk and he listens. But like
that's just a human exchange of communication.
I know, and like that's literally what it's like to date men as a straight woman. It literally is that way, where it's like, oh my God, yes, but he tried, frowny face.
He tried. Oh my God, he does. So he listens. He listens. He notices things.
So like, what do friends owe to each other? Like, what would have made this better? You know, because like, I do think that she's leading him on. I do think he is putting pressure on her. Like, is he being fair by continually bringing up his feelings for her?
I do. I mean, I kind of think he is. I am just like so anti-Team Bella at this point that I'm like, yeah, sure. But no,
Whatever.
I think he's just trying to be honest. And even when he brings it up and finally at one point she's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to feel that way. Is this okay? And she just asks that, right? At some point.
Yeah, I think she does.
And he's like,
that.
yeah, it's fine. I'm so happy just to be with you.
He does say that.
And like, that's probably not true.
But it's really
so
sweet. Okay, I've always said that, like, the first step to authentic allyship is performative allyship. For example, when people are complaining about companies who, like, do performative, like, Pride Month marketing,
yeah.
I'm like, yo, but what if they weren't doing performative Pride Month marketing? Like, this is a step. And so, like a man who feels the right thing to say is definitely better than a man who is only saying the right thing to say, but a man who knows the right thing to say is a good step in the right direction.
Yeah. So I think I really don't think he crosses any real lines. I don't know. I think I just fell in love with him in this book.
I know it's hard. And it's hard because like I said, I do really feel for both of them in their positions. They're both quite young. They're both in, like, a hard spot. So like when Jacob starts turning into a werewolf, it's apparently, like, a rough process, and then he has, like, this whole secret life he's not allowed to tell her. Not only like he is physically not allowed to tell her, he is magically prohibited.
Yeah.
So he shuts her out time and time again, just completely abandons her. Like, is that fair? Is that fair behavior to Bella?
Well, that's not fair, but I mean, I think he's confused and doesn't know any way around it.
Yeah, I kind of think that betrays his age a little bit, the way he's like, I don't know, I can't say anything. Instead of calling her and being like, hey, Bella, I'm going through some shit. It's like a tribe thing, or maybe one day we can talk about this more, but right now I'm just really going through something. It's not about you.
Yeah.
Like, all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, who would have been, like, it would have been great to have as a support system, not a magical creature, like maybe Jessica or
Jessica.
Angela.
I have a section for Jessica.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm just saying, when you completely center men in your life, things don't go well for you, man. Like,
yeah. I mean, totally. So Jessica is again taken advantage of by Bella and the plot. She is looked down upon with nothing but scorn by Bella and the plot. That's the thing. Bella can do something fucked up as our main character, but she can't, actually, because it's first person narrative. Like, sometimes people can do stuff and the writer is, like, obviously framing it in a way where it's like, this isn't right. But she literally hates Jessica so much. Okay. So she uses Jessica to get Charlie off her back because she's been depressed for October, November, December,
all the
January, February, maybe March. I don't remember if it goes that far. Charlie's like, I'm going to send you to your mom's house if you don't snap out of it, basically. And Bella does not want to go to her mom's house because she wants to stay in Forks, where the Cullens may return someday. She is like, Jessica, let's go to a movie. Yeah, a movie. And McDonald's.
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah. I love it.
So, like, they're walking through the streets of Port Angeles, which is, to these kids, a really big city. Mm-hmm. And Bella, like, sees these guys. They're not they allegedly bad guys. I don't know. We don't know anything about them, but they're threatening adult men. And Bella walks right towards them because she starts hallucinating Edward's voice telling her not to. And this is a huge violation of the girl code. She's putting herself and her friend in danger. She's putting herself in danger when she has a friend who's responsible for her. She's putting Jessica in danger, and she doesn't consider this, doesn't think about it, not even a little bit, not even at all. That made me mad.
That pissed me off a lot. Yeah.
And then Jessica acts weird to her for the whole rest of the book. On page 165, quote, I wondered if she needed a formal written apology for the Port Angeles incident. Okay, Bella, maybe any apology at all? Maybe ever bring it up ever again? Think about how maybe it really scared her. Acknowledge the fact that you are wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Jessica could be like an understanding friend if she gave her a chance. Like,
She could literally tell Jessica the Cullen's secret, and
Yeah.
Jessica would be honored.
yeah, I don't know if
probably
she'd
would.
keep it, but
I blab.
yeah. And you
I'm
are
a blabber.
Jessica.
I'm a
so-
total Jessica. I wish I was a Rosalie, but I'm a Jessica.
That's okay. Yeah, that was really fucked up. Do you have anything else about? She's barely in this book. She's just really that
that's my
scene.
whole.
And
Yeah, that's my whole Jessica section.
okay, I have some questions about the hallucinations of Edward.
Yeah, let's do it.
So.
My note is, what the fuck are these?
Right, because I think I must have thought this when I originally read it, and rereading it, I was thinking some way Edward's finding some way to communicate with her. Like, this is really Edward, but it's not. At the end, it's not.
I kind of forgot, because it's been like 15 years since I read these. Like, I kind of forgot what the resolution on those hallucinations was going to be, and there is no resolution.
There's none, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
That
She's
is
like,
a
I guess I had a
plot-
minty bee.
Like, literally, that is a plot hole, in my
Yeah.
personal opinion. Like, that is a wild thing to hallucinate, and I would much rather have some stupid ass magical
Yeah,
reasoning than no reasoning at all.
because you're kind of thinking like, oh, he's still kind of watching over her somehow.
He's not. He's in Brazil being really stupid.
Yeah, he's in Brazil, basically waiting to die and trying to track trying to track oh my God.
Victoria.
Victoria.
Well, Victoria's in like Canada.
Yeah.
So far away from Brazil.
He's like, I'm really bad at it. And I'm like, ooh, we get to see you're bad at something. A flawed male lead. I'm just kidding. Not really.
It starts with the motorcycles. Her and Jacob are like riding these motorcycles that he fixed up, and she can hear Edward being like, "Don't do this, you dumb fuck." And she's like, "Oh, so horny for daddy telling me, no, baby girl, don't do that."
And it even made me mad because I'm like, Edward, why would you talk? I know you're mad, but like, don't talk to her while she's on a motorcycle. She immediately gets into an accident. It's kind of
I know,
funny.
it's so fucking funny. I feel like I remember the movie scene of this being pretty funny too, but
and poor Jacob's just like, Bella, what's wrong?
why did you seemingly intentionally crash your motorcycle? But he's so hot, he just hops on his little motorcycle, he rides on over, he's like, "Are you okay? I'm here to save your life." I was about to say he's not wearing a shirt, but that comes later when he stops wearing a shirt halfway through this book. That's hot too.
It is hot. I love the way that they all dress in, like, in the book.
Jorts!
In the book, it says that they're wearing clothes that would easily tear away, which makes more sense. Like, that they're shorts, but they're like cheap gym shorts.
I know, but they also specifically say jorts one time. I mean,
do they?
They don't. It says cutoffs. It doesn't say jorts.
Yeah,
but
that's what that means. Okay, because that in the movie, that is all that they wear. They're all just
Jorts.
shirtless, wearing denim shorts, and they all look like a Vegas act. You know what I mean?
no, definitely soccer shorts are the move. We don't get to see this, but I I do picture them. How many are there? There's like 5 or 6. I think there's 5 of them, and they're all like fighting in the woods. They're getting really enraged, and they just all start taking their clothes off so that they don't.
Let's do this.
So they don't ruin their clothes. He has to stop wearing underwear. We can't afford it.
Poor Billy is like, you're. I'm not buying you any new shoes. I'm like, this sucks. That's hella inconvenient.
I know. Honestly, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I do think that flip-flops are the answer to that problem.
You know what? You're right.
You can get out of them really quickly.
And even if you bust them, you can, like, Old Navy flip-flops are like $5. Well, they used to be. So,
or even like Crocs. You can. I think that a giant wolf's paw would still maybe kind of fit in a Croc. Jacob's got to be like a size 12 shoe. He's gigantic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Do you think Bella would have eventually fallen for Jacob if the stupid ending of this book hadn't happened?
I like to think that she would have.
I kind of think she would have too.
She always is referencing her heartbreak over Edward and how she still is desperate to hear his voice. So I don't know if she could ever get past that.
The thing is that I have this feeling, and maybe this is a me feeling, but I have this feeling when people are like, this heartbreak will last forever, that no emotions last forever in an acute way, in a way that affects your day-to-day life. Like, will you always carry the ghost of that heartbreak inside of you? Yes, that's called trauma, baby. But like, I really believe that if 10 years had passed, her pain would be but an echo. But teenagers don't know that.
No, and we do feel things so hard when we're teenagers. And I remember,
it's true,
even when I was 11 years old, and that random boy at my church said,
"Oh my God,
I'm not into feeling it. I'm not feeling it." And
really
I
sad.
wished that I never existed.
That was a trauma.
Yeah, but I hope you're right. I would have loved for her to finally. I don't think that she deserves Jacob, but it would have been nice. It would have been nice for Charlie. It would have been nice. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just, she wouldn't have had to change into the undead and forsake her family.
Wow, so true. Charlie would have loved it.
Yeah, he was a big fan. He was like, I really like Jacob.
Yeah, him and Billy Black being grandpas together.
Yeah.
That they basically are already.
Yeah, it would be great. But she's got that vampire thing, that vampy kink.
Whatever, man. I just can't. I don't get any of it at all.
I agree.
I don't get any of it.
I guess I did
single
when
one of
I
her
read
choices.
this originally, though. I mean, because Jacob's really not so much in the first book, and so I guess I really liked them together.
But a child in the first one.
Yeah, but I agree. I'm just like, Edward is just, first of all, Eddie boy. He dumps her in the woods. It is on the edge of the woods, right near Charlie's house.
Yeah, it is really close because he wants to take her away, I think, from the house, but he also is like, this dumb idiot is gonna get lost if I leave her alone in the woods, so we can see the house from here.
Yeah, which is good, because to just take someone to the middle of the woods and dump them is serial killer behavior.
I know, but she's so stupid and crazy that she's like, I'm just gonna walk straight into the woods with my heartache.
I want to follow you as you run through the woods.
It's like, bitch, he goes 100 miles an hour.
You know this. You know this. Hang on, Spider Monkey, ring any bells? Anyway, that's a movie thing. But
it doesn't matter. It does not matter. It's iconic. It's canon.
And she trips like 12 times. And then finally she trips and doesn't get back up.
She stays down. Sorry, have I ever been that depressed? Yes.
Yeah, sure. But just, let's put ourselves in Charlie's shoes for this situation.
Dude, I know. Imagine having the dumbest daughter on earth.
Okay, so your Native American, probably werewolf friends or whatever, end up finding her because they have to send people to look for her because she's lost.
Yeah, and I think they low-key send Sam, who is like the head of this cult. We can talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah.
The not called the werewolf cult.
Yeah.
And I think that probably he volunteered because I don't know how many people in the tribe are allowed to know about the werewolves, but I feel like he's like, I'll go look, and then because he can smell really good.
Yeah. So one of so I don't know if it was Sam, but let's just say it was Sam. Sam shows up to Charlie's house carrying Bella.
It is Sam. It's definitely Sam.
It is, okay. Carrying his daughter. I'll be honest with you, it looks like she's been
dead.
Assaulted and left in the woods.
Yes, and that is super a thing that happens to women. That totally happens, that you get assaulted and left in the woods.
And Charlie has to see her emerge looking like that. And he's like, his first reaction, because we love Charlie, is, what the fuck did this bitch do to you? What did he do to you?
Yes.
And she's like, he left me.
He broke my little heart. And Charlie's like, okay, well.
Are you hurt? Like, yeah, bitch. You can't just, when you're sad, you can't just walk into the middle of the woods and lay there and hope to die.
I'm sorry. It's very, in this specific
so dramatic.
context, that reaction feels very funny.
It is, and I was so pissed at her because I knew what he was thinking. I was like, she looks she looks like somebody assaulted her.
And even after she says, well, yeah, I guess that she is so obsessed with him that when she's like, he broke my heart, Charlie's like, oh, I guess I do believe that.
Yeah. And then Charlie has to sit through this weird, like, catatonic state that she goes through for months and months.
Okay.
This weird autopilot thing she does.
Yes. They mention, like, the first week, like, I'm flipping through my book if you hear that in the background. Like, the first week they don't speak of. And then after that first week, yeah, she just goes into autopilot. Okay, wait. It only goes through January. She wakes up in February. I checked.
Okay. So is it September, October, November?
October, November, December, January. Hey, New Year.
New Year, new moon.
New Year, new moon.
Yeah. And by the way, how the narrator read that part, which let me just tell you, that reads a lot better than it sounds. They're just going, October, November, January,
You skipped a month.
December. It's turned my brain to mush, this book.
No, okay. I really felt that way. I read it's 600 pages long. I read it over 3 days.
Which is insane.
That's 200 pages a day. I express my depression by reading. Okay, I truly do. And my brain was full of Jacob Black and nothing else. And I was really just looking at my life being like, I thought when I was 16, I thought I wanted Jacob, and like, don't I deserve that now? And then just looking at myself in the mirror and being like, Christina, what is happening to you? And then for like the next couple of days, anytime anyone said anything to me, I was like, that's just like a new moon when, whoa. It's like a fucking parasite in my brain. And I'm like, when I got to the end of it, I was pretty bummed that we're not just reading Eclipse right away.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, our minds is mush. It's confusing because it's called New Moon, but there's no moon. What is that? My brain broken.
I think she actually says the phrase new moon.
Yes, she does. I forget what she says, but she does say new moon. So Edward breaks her heart, fucks off for 6 months. She has no idea where he is, and his whole family is gone too. And she considered Alice to be like her best friend, which is annoying because we don't see any development of that relationship. No. And even when they're reunited, we still kind of don't get to see any of that relationship. But I believe it because Bella hates Jessica and everyone else.
I just don't think she likes humans at this point.
She doesn't like any humans. She thinks she's better than humans, which is very funny.
Yeah. Well, the vampires have kind of like told her that she's better than all the other humans, you know? I guess you get to sit with us. She's got that singing blood.
Oh, yeah. And he can't read her mind.
Yeah, I know. She's an enigma.
He fucks off for 6 months. Then he tries to kill himself, forcing her to drop her entire life and run across the world. And then he berates her for believing him when he dumped her and left the country.
I could not believe my ears and eyes.
Page 510. I'm gonna go to it. I put pages in my notes so I can fucking cite my sources.
Actually, I just wrapped up this book today, so that is fresh on the dome.
Good for you, girl. But how could you believe me? After all the 1,000 times I've told you I love you, how could you let one word break your faith in me?
Why is he gaslighting her like that? Like, that's not nice.
He says, I could see it in your eyes, that you honestly believed that I didn't want you anymore. The most absurd, ridiculous concept, as if there were any way that I could exist without needing you. And then he says, Bella, really, what were you thinking? You're impossible. Like, that's the whole page.
That chapter is extremely annoying to me in a way that, and I think that Jason was forced to listen to it as well because I was cooking dinner. And he was like,
oh, Jason is such tragic collateral damage of this podcast.
he is. And he was just laughing a lot, mostly because he says, like, the adjectives in this book are so funny to me. And
Which ones?
I know what I started as ever since he said that, I was like, oh yeah, every adjective she uses just Jason said it brings it to a screeching halt for him. I don't know. I wish I had highlighted
His words
something.
were incomprehensible because they were impossible.
Oh, that's a bad example.
Oh, I thought it was funny.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's still not great, but she says
his face paler than his usual pale.
Stephanie Myers is so funny. She doesn't even know it.
He caught my face securely between his iron hands, ignoring my struggles when I tried to turn away. Please don't, I whispered. I mean, obviously that's sexy because they're reuniting or whatever, but like...
What I don't like about this chapter, which is is that they're doing the thing in high school that like toxic couples do, that I'm sure we all did, where you're like, no, I'm not good enough for you. I don't deserve you. And they're like, no,
so
I don't
manipulative.
deserve you. I'm no good for you. But do you even want me? Because if not, I'll go. And he's like, no, if you don't want me, I'll go. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. And like, this is the scene she's okay, they get to Volterra. Okay. I mean, you guys know. If you're listening to this, you probably fucking know. It's like, culturally iconic. This all starts, since we're digging into the finale here, this all starts because Bella is trying to seek thrills. And she dives off a cliff, unsupervised, without anyone's permission or knowledge, which is, first of all, terrible. Do not do extreme sports without people's knowledge.
And it's like she dives off of a cliff into the Pacific Ocean.
Into the Pacific, the northern Pacific, what is it called? The
Pacific Northeast.
So Pacific Northwest.
West.
Okay, which is, we'll get there. Which is like notoriously rocky and bananas. And she just jumps right in, and there's like a hurricane coming that she doesn't know because she doesn't care to check the weather.
She doesn't do research ever.
She does. And so Alice has this vision of Bella jumping off a cliff, and then Alice tells Rosalie, I'm going to Bella because I think she killed herself. And then Rosalie tells Edward because Rosalie's a bitch. She's like, your girlfriend killed herself. And then one of Charlie's friends, poor Harry Clearwater, also collateral damage of this plot, has recently died of a heart attack. So Edward calls the house, pretending to be Carlisle. Jacob answers the phone. Edward says, where's Charlie? And Jacob says he's at the funeral and hangs up. And Edward's like, no! Not my pillow that I left for dead in the woods.
I was wondering at first why we had to randomly kill
Harry Clearwater
when he wasn't even really involved.
He's literally a victim of the plot, had to kill him.
Just for that phone interaction. So there could be a misunderstanding.
The whole Harry Clearwater thing could have been cut. The whole phone call thing could have been cut because if Alice saw it, then it just happened. Okay. So then Edward immediately throws his phone away in a garbage can in Brazil, where he's not being a good tracker. He gets on a plane to go to Italy, where there is basically, it feels like the Vatican. It's like a small city called Volterra, and that's where the Volturi, a very ancient group of vampires, like rule. They are very serious about their secrecy rules. So you can't expose yourself. You can't eat from inside the city, and you can't expose yourself. So Edward goes to them and is like, will you kill me? And they're like, no, you have like cool powers. We're going to just hope you get over this and come work for us. So he is like going to walk into the square with his skin sparkling in the sunlight during like a festival so that they are forced to kill him as punishment. Okay, so Alice sees this. Alice and Bella get on a plane. Bella goes and tackles him in the square. That's where we are right now. And then they have to go talk to the Volturi, and then they're like, why do you have a human? And then they have to be like, we're going to change Bella. Don't worry, we're going to change her into a vampire. And they're all like, that would be cool. I kind of like the Volturi. They're like, that seems nice.
They're like, oh, really? Oh, okay, great.
Cool plan. I just said so many things, and I have like so many things I want to say about all of them. What do you think?
Yeah, so one thing that we realize when they all meet the Volturi is that they're like have a cluster of like other vampires with special abilities, like Edward and Alice,
but like way
more powerful.
Yeah, I guess because they're older, probably they're more powerful.
Yeah. They all try their powers on her, and none of them work on her.
Oh yeah, including Jane. Do y'all remember Pain, which is just a movie thing? Because like, I mean, if you're just like if you're just like not doing anything, it's like not fun to watch on movies.
Yeah,
so
like,
I love little what the fuck's her name?
Dakota Fanning.
Yeah, I love little Dakota Fanning with that dead ass face, just being like Pain.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
badass.
good. Yeah.
I really liked her in that movie.
Yeah, so nobody can touch Bella, so they're like, what will her power be?
Yeah. And
nothingness, because she's a nothing girl in a nothing world.
They're like, what's so special about her? And it's a classic
nothing.
Harry Potter situation. I'm so sorry. When
She's not like other girls.
and you're like, why? And they're like,
because the main character.
because. Okay.
All the boys want her and she can't do anything.
Yeah, she's just so confused all the time. She doesn't know.
She doesn't know. And the second she gets near Edward again, she like throws herself at his cold, hard body. And he's just like her daddy again. And like, I think that when she is with Jacob, she has more agency and control. She feels more comfortable with Jacob having agency and control.
Yeah. I also am very bothered by the fact that she really never gets a formal apology from Edward.
Oh my god. He calls her an idiot.
Yeah,
he's
he
like,
basically
well, you
gaslights
believed
her.
me.
He's
You
like, I was
fucking
just kidding.
dumbass."
I was joking. You don't understand a joke?
The joke when I dumped your ass and moved to Brazil.
When I took you to the woods, dumped you, and moved my whole family to Brazil. April Fools, like...
Okay.
He says something like, I'm sorry. He says something like...
I'm sorry you believed me, you idiot.
Yeah, something like that, which is just such a bullshit men apology. I hate it.
Yeah. Yep. Let's talk a little bit about like changing Bella. So basically, the second Bella met Edward, she's like, I want to be a vampire too, because like otherwise it's going to be like, what's his butt, Viago in What We Do in the Shadows with like a 95-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
People, hold on, what is it? It's like, people ask us about our age difference.
They think, what's this 96-year-old lady doing with a guy 4 times her age? And, I don't care.
It doesn't make any difference.
No, they can call me Cradle Snatcher. Who cares?
It's like he obviously looks like he's 28.
It's so funny and cute. And Edward's like, no, I mean, who cares? But Bella's like visibly gagging about the idea of her being an old lady.
Yes, I think the book starts with her 18th birthday. She hates that because Edward is 17 forever. So she really wants to be changed. Edward is firmly against it. Before we get to Edward, when Alice comes around to make sure Bella didn't kill herself, I think they're on the plane on the way to Italy. Alice is like, yeah, I want you to be a vampire. I'll change you myself. And Bella's like, let's go right now. And Alice is like, okay, no, it's messy. We're on a plane. And then later in the book, Carlisle promises to do it himself if Edward doesn't do it. Like, who is responsible for Bella now? She's 18. She wants to be a vampire, but somebody has to do that to her. Like, who gets to make that decision?
I mean, Bella should make that decision, I guess.
Even
right?
if somebody else has to do it to her?
I mean, Edward does not seem willing. So I would say it needs to be a consensual bite,
Yeah, which Alice was like, I'll bite you, bitch. I don't give
It
a
seems
shit.
like a logical choice.
She's like, I like Jasper, but like I could really use a gal pal. And Rosalie's kind of a cunt.
Yeah, I agree. And I do like the idea of them being friends, even though, like you said, we don't really see proof.
Yeah, it's kind of
She's
just like,
more so just always taking care of Bella.
Yep, who isn't?
All the time. Who isn't? Seriously. Bella's not taking care of Bella.
Wow, so true. Great point. Is Carlisle out of line being like, I'll do it if Edward doesn't? Or like, he says Edward has forced his hand, basically, by involving the Volturi and putting him in this position. Like, what would you do?
Because the Volturi not only say, that sounds like a good idea to change her, they also say, we're going to send our people to come check on you guys to make sure that she's a vampire.
Edward's like, they're fucking 3,000 years old. It could be 300 years before they come check on her.
Which is like wishful thinking, I think. Like,
Yeah.
I understand why Carlisle is like, yeah, I feel like now it has to happen.
Now it has to happen, yeah. But like, even before that, I feel like Carlisle was like on board. Was it out of line before they left her, when she's just some girl that you let your son date, and he's like, yeah, it'd be cool if you're a vampire, to like someone who is basically a child.
I mean, probably not. Like, the ethics of that of changing a teenager into a vampire, I don't love.
What a sentence. There's also this like this inextricable intertwining in this book series of suicide and romance and like death.
Yeah, there's the Romeo and Juliet-ness of it all.
Romeo and Juliet of it all. It's a horrible,
so corny.
It is a horrible motif that runs through this. The book opens with Edward telling Bella about how he would kill himself if she ever died, and he thought about it because she almost died in the first book. And the book ends with him attempting to kill himself because he thinks Bella's dead. Bella returns this sentiment eagerly, and no one comments on this ever, including the narrative. Like, what is this telling teenage readers?
That suicide is romantic.
Suicide is romantic. Like, and like, how is our perspective? Do you think a book could be written this way today with like these kinds of ideals?
No, because if that were the ideals that the characters had, they would need to include some kind of like voice of reason.
Yeah, you have to. After in a post 13 Reasons Why world,
yeah,
you have to lead kids away from suicide.
These kids are so impressionable. Like, I'm not about like restricting what kids can read or anything, but like to really, especially with how into the fandom these readers were.
Yes, these readers pointing at ourselves.
I'm sure when I had to read Romeo and Juliet in high school, like, or maybe middle school, like everybody else, I certainly was like, that's so romantic. If you can't be with your love, just be with them in heaven forever.
It is really romantic. Okay, but I was really obsessed with the Romeo plus Juliet, the Baz Luhrmanns.
Yes.
And like, especially the way that particular movie films it, they overlap by 1/2 of 1 second. The second before Romeo dies, Juliet wakes up and sees him dying, and they like clutch each other and they hold each other. And the movie, even when I was 16, had me screaming, oh wait 1 second. Wait 1 second.
Just wait.
Oh my god, please. Like, it feels so stupid and so futile.
Yeah.
I think even when I was a kid, I was like, Romeo and Juliet is ultimately stupid and futile, as beautiful as some of the language is in the love story.
I agree. I think I remember, like, when the first time I read it, I was like, wait, what happens?
I thought this was a romance.
Why does everyone like this play so much?
Right? Yeah, okay, so on page 540, Edward asks Bella to marry him before changing, which I don't understand this. I don't understand this. 540. I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah.
That is still 20 pages from the end. I just want to remind everyone. She's like, I want you to change me. Right? We were talking about that. I want you to change me into a vampire. And he says, if you want me to be the one, then you'll have to meet one condition. Condition? What condition? His eyes were cautious. He spoke slowly. Marry me first. I stared at him, waiting. Okay, what's the punchline? She's like, I'm only 18. And he says, well, I'm nearly 110. It's time I settle down. Okay, so what's the problem here, Edward? Is it that you're dating someone who's 100 years younger than you?
And maybe marriage will make you feel better?
Then Bella says, marriage isn't exactly high on my list of priorities. It was sort of the kiss of death for Renee and Charlie. And Edward says, interesting choice of words. Please don't tell me you're afraid of the commitment. Basically, this is all crazy. Every step of this is crazy. Why Mary? Do you think his logic is like, if I'm going to turn you into a vampire, if I'm going to like be party to this, you have to also be married to me the whole time? Like, I'm only going to do this if there's a plan, and the plan is
You're mine
eternity,
forever.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I do. I think that it's all a possessive thing for him, because they both have this stupid thing where they're like, I'm insecure and I'm no good for you.
I'm no good for you.
And so you're so amazing. And then when you become a vampire, you're just going to be hottie patati, and you could just get with all the vampires in town.
Hottie patati. No, Jacob's the hottie patati, okay? He's a hot potato.
I just thought about how sad it's going to be when she turns into a vampire, and then
Jacob, not only does Bella makes no, she doesn't make him, sorry, language. Bella allows Jacob, witnesses Jacob falling in love with her over the course of 6 months. And then not only does Bella forget about him the second when Edward comes back, the plot forgets about Jacob. Jacob Black is forgotten. We have to go home at the end to be like, oh yeah, Jacob, sorry, I choose him. And it's like, what was this book? Like, why did we read this? Okay, let's fix the ending. What do we do? What's more satisfying? Because fuck the whole Volterra thing. Like, how do we have a finale with Jacob?
the narrative wants ultimately Edward to be the one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're just going to say fuck the narrative, then I would say Bella falls in love with Jacob. She falls in love. She gets over. She kind of tries to get over Edward, and Jacob's helping her. And then Edward comes back and like wants her back. And she says, "I'm so sorry. I've already moved on.
I have a new monster."
Yeah, I like a different monster now. And that's just tough tater tots.
That's tough tater tots. Okay, here's what I would do.
Okay.
Instead of the whole Volterra side plot, it is a side plot. The finale is a side plot.
Yeah, I agree.
What I would do, the reason the werewolves come into being, the reason they become werewolves is because there are vampires around. That's like how werewolves are made, is in response to vampires to protect humans from vampires. And much of the book, the werewolves are tracking Victoria and trying to kill her. Edward also leaves to go to try and track Victoria. What if he tracks her from Brazil all the way back up to Forks, and he's forced to come into werewolf territory, and they butt heads that way? And it's like, he's like, I'm not here for you. I'm here for Victoria, but they're forced to come together and figure it out. And nobody goes to Italy. And Jacob is an important major player in the finale.
That is a great idea, because come to think of it, what the fuck? They teased Victoria this whole time and we never even fucking see her.
I think it comes up again. It definitely comes up again in the next book. I remember.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know. We only have one villain, probably.
I think that Eclipse is about Victoria, and then I think that they finally kill her in Eclipse, and then I think that Breaking Dawn is about the Volturi, and I think
that sounds right. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk real quick about the weird religious undertones that were in this one, and I don't think I picked up on them in the first one at all.
What do you mean?
Carlisle and Bella are talking about religion. They don't, or spirituality.
About like souls?
Yes, souls. They're talking about, Edward is, he died from the Spanish flu. Where from? He's religious. He's Christian. They don't bring it up. He wants to get married before he has sex, and he's worried about his eternal soul. Okay, he's Christian. Oh, and Carlisle is like, Bella, Edward is worried about your eternal soul. He thinks his own soul is damned. Okay, but also later, well, first of all, like, I don't know. Do you think that's appropriate in this kind of book to be like, my own eternal soul, the Christian one?
No, I don't understand why we need to mix like conservative Christian values with like
YA fantasy
potential
romance.
YA monster fucking fantasy, you know?
Yeah, and that comes up more than once in this book, and I hated it every
Yeah,
time. I really
not a
actually
fan.
liked when Bella and Carlisle get to have a one-on-one conversation. This conversation is the foundation for the pretty large percentage of people who ship Bella and Carlisle.
Ew, what? I don't like that.
Yeah, that's real. So, but I do like the exchange. Like, I think it's nice for her to have a father figure that she feels like she can actually talk to. No shade on Charlie. But, like, I like that exchange. But they spend, a lot of it talking about spirituality. And I just, there's the Mormon of it all.
Yep. The Mormon of it all.
Also, later, when Edward sees Bella in Volterra, he is like, he's killing himself because he thinks she killed herself. And then he looks up and he sees her. He's like, oh, I must be in heaven. And then exactly 50 pages later, so close, when they get back to Forks, Bella goes to sleep. And when she wakes up, Edward's still there. And she's like, oh, I must be dead and in heaven because you're here. Like, they both do the exact same dumb thing. Like,
so
come on,
stupid.
Stephanie. 50 pages apart.
That was very frustrating for me. But I know you bring that up because he says something like, what does he says? Like, Carlisle was right? Edward says when he sees
like
her.
That. Yeah.
And it's, I guess, because he thinks he's in heaven?
Is worried about his immortal soul. Oh.
I don't know. I don't understand, kind of.
I don't either.
Well, I don't know.
I forgot to mention we were talking about either Edward's abuse or changing Bella. Because at the very end of the book, she's like, family meeting. Not my family. I hate them. Edward's family meeting. Let's take a vote. Are we going to change me or not? And everyone votes yes, except for Edward and Rosalie. And I think that that's cool because Rosalie's like, I hate this life. I wish she had cut a glare at Carlisle. Like, I fucking hate this life.
Yeah.
But when Edward is outvoted, he gets so mad that he goes into the next room and starts throwing and breaking shit in the next room.
This is so abusive and terrible.
Yeah.
Very immature for someone who's lived for 300 years or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. I mean, he hasn't practiced a lot of emotional processing because I think they're all just in this state, this like, I don't know. It's just so weird, though, because I actually take it back because Carlisle is the most emotionally developed person I've ever encountered in literature.
Yeah.
He's so chill.
He's chill. He's so good at, like, controlling his feelings. And
Yes. He's very in control. He also has a way of being in control of a room, even when he's not doing anything, you know?
Yeah.
Basically, Carlisle's kind of hot.
You're right about
Do you remember?
that.
Oh, I think I told you this during our Twilight recording, but I got when I was watching the first one at the Bird, and he walked on screen, and everybody applauded, and then when the applause died down, I said, "Oh, Daddy!" and I got a big laugh, big laugh. I'll never forget it.
Proudest moment.
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I think did you want to get into, like, the Sam and Sam and the werewolf cult?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting, I think. So basically, like, before Jacob changes, Sam and a couple of the other boys from the reservation, they're like old. They're like in their 20s, I think, or at least like Sam is. They're like all hanging out together, and they like appear to have secrets, and like Jacob doesn't get it, and then they seemingly like take one of his friends. And Jacob gets really, really angry at them for, like, being what appears to be a cult. But then we find out that they are werewolves and they do have big, important secrets.
Yeah, it's still a cult, right? Because let's see.
Definitely.
Think about our sounds like a cult rules. Okay.
There is no exit strategy. That's the biggest one.
Yeah. There's group speak, literally.
They are all mentally connected. And Jacob is even like, it is really not cool for them to hear all my thoughts. Like, can they hear when you are masturbating about your not girlfriend that you keep dragging around them? Like,
so embarrassing. Okay, what else is culty? Just that there's like a supreme leader that no one can question.
Yes, the alpha.
Yeah.
Kind of hot. But no, it's bad. It's bad.
I know.
And then also, they're very insular and isolated. Like,
Yeah.
you can't sit with us, and also nobody understands us.
Yeah.
Which is true. All of that is for good reason, but it still is a cult.
It's still true. Yeah. And then who is it? Emily? Is that her name?
Yes.
Sam's wife or fiance?
Yes. Yeah, one of those.
One of the two. I do think that their relationship is hot and amazing.
Okay. But tell us about Emily.
Okay. So a year ago, all of this werewolf stuff, like, super recent, apparently. So, like, Sam changed, when we're reading this, Sam changed a year ago, all by himself, into a werewolf. He had no brothers. He had no wolf brothers at this time.
They do call each other brothers.
It's cute.
Very cute.
I know. So, and apparently, very, like, painful transition, and it takes a long, kind of a second to, like, learn how to control your anger so you don't just wolf out all the time. And I guess he wolfed out at one point. It doesn't really say why, but he wolfed out at one point when Emily was too close by, and he sliced her. He really
fucking, like, Wolverined her.
Yes, the whole side of her face, like, her eyes fucked up, even down to, like, her wrist, all down her arm are these, like, deep.
Damn, really? Her arm?
Yeah.
Shit.
That's, yeah,
I
they
didn't
said,
remember
Bella said, like, when
that.
she, like, pushed up her sleeves to, like, cook, that she could see the scars there.
And they are deliriously in love.
Yeah. Like, he just loves her. He gazes at her, and just, they can stop touching each other and, like, gazing into each other's eyes.
Do you think that they were like that before he injured her, or do you think that their relationship had to change both out of his guilt and to protect her in the future?
I think it's that. I mean, I'm sure that they were, like, in love or whatever, but to hurt someone you love that badly, in order to make that relationship still work, that scar is a reminder of what he did every single second of every single day that he sees her.
Dude, Layla, do you have any, like, I'm thinking about Sean's house, how, like, there would be maybe, like a ding in the wall where I, like, slammed something one time, and every time I walk past it, I'm like, fuck, I dinged that wall. And it, like, kind of sucks. Do you have anything like that at your house?
No, I'm not a very,
You don't have a lot of exposed walls at your house, honestly.
Yeah, there's not a lot of wall space, and I'm just not a very, when I get mad, I don't do that. Usually,
I am not talking about when I'm mad. I'm talking about when I'm, like, moving a ladder by
clumsy.
myself.
Oh yeah, we have lots of stuff.
I was like,
that.
bitch, if you're about to tell me you don't fuck stuff up because you're clumsy. So, like, I'm thinking about how annoying it is to look at a ding in a wall every day.
Yeah. Yes.
And then for it to be my wife whom I injured gravely. Like, that.
It's heartbreaking.
That's wild, yeah.
It seems like he's doing his best to make up for it, and it seems that she's fully forgiven him. So,
yeah. I mean, it is fucked, but you also are totally rooting for them. And
yeah, totally.
the Wolf Boys are so cute. Like,
I love them.
When I say boys will be boys, what I mean is the Quillette fucking werewolf boys, okay? Like, that is what I'm talking about.
She whips up 24 eggs for breakfast.
And, like, a tower of muffins.
And they eat all of it, like, immediately. They're all, like, huddled together at this tiny table.
Oh my god, it's so cute. And Bella, I think it says she nibbled at her muffin like 6 times, and I'm like, bitch, can you please just face the muffin real quick and get on with your life? God, she can't eat. She's the heroine.
The muffin's a metaphor. She can't face anything. She can't face anything.
Oh my god. Yes, they're all, like, laughing, and, like, when they get mad and they fight, they're, like, still laughing about it, and, like, everyone's just so chill. And even when he, like, tells Bella, he's not supposed to tell Bella he's a werewolf, so he makes her guess, and then he, like, brings her to the werewolf meeting, and they're all like, what the fuck, man, you've been a werewolf for 7 days, you brought your fucking girlfriend. And she's in so much shock that the other werewolf is like, I'll drive your car, come on, let's go get some muffins.
It's like in What We Do in the Shadows when they bring what's his name, the
Stu,
like Steve, what's his Steve or Stu, of course. When the new vampire that was just turned like a week ago brings
that's Nick.
But the human is Stu. He brings his human friend, to the vampire house, and it's just like,
they're
it's
all
pretty
like, we
cool
don't.
guy.
Yeah, they're all like, well, we don't tell anyone that we're vampires. Well, except Stu.
Yeah, I guess, except Stu. And everyone just kind of eventually goes with it. But I do like that. What did she say? Aren't you the... Emily says, like, oh, are you the vampire girl? And Bella's like, yeah, are you the wolf girl?
Pass the Bechdel test!
I was like, yay!
Pass the Bechdel test!
They're kind of both talking about their male partners, but it's fine.
I guess.
They don't directly...
No, they're talking about their own identities in the context of the patriarchy
Yeah.
systems that they live in. Yeah, and it's funny because Bella's there in that moment being like, could I be a wolf girl? And she's like, yeah. And then 100 pages later, the book is like, this is garbage, and sets it on fire.
And it gives us hope. And yeah, it sets it on fire. It's so fucked. It's so very fucked. Like, how many pages of vampire are there in comparison to wolf bonding? Like, far fewer, surely.
Far fewer. Wait, a vampire?
Yeah.
And they don't bond. They're all weird because vampires, it says it several times, vampires don't usually team up together. And it specifically says that Carlisle's family is the biggest group on Earth, but werewolves are pack animals.
Yeah.
Men only.
I just meant, like, how much more Jacob than Edward is there in this book.
Oh, in this book, for sure. Yeah, I did. We should mention that werewolves are only men for some reason.
Yeah. Interesting.
Vampires can be anybody.
That's
But
true.
werewolves
More
can only be men.
inclusive.
It's like an old magic. It's probably like an old ideology from their tribe. I actually have no idea. And to be perfectly honest, Stephanie Meyer doesn't either. But yeah, I could have just done. If you're the werewolf girl, why aren't you a werewolf?
Yeah, I was wondering
I
that
had to
too
say.
at first. I was like, ooh, is she gonna get hairy on us?
Oh, that'd be so
No.
cool. No, girls can't get hairy and run around naked. Are you joking?
Oh yeah, that's not very that's not modest.
She has to be making breakfast.
It's very dumb. All the women, I mean, Bella also cooks all the time. Well, she cooks more in Twilight, but I guess
She cooks so much, and she uses it as an excuse for. She's like, I gotta get home and cook for Charlie, as if he couldn't find his way to a bowl of cereal and to not die.
Well, I gotta tell you, I took a little peek into the first chapter of the next book, and guess what? It's Charlie trying to microwave a jar of spaghetti sauce with the metal lid on into the microwave for dinner. And
I know why Renee left him. No, just kidding. Renee's an
and
idiot.
Bella's
too.
like, Dad, we could all catch on fire. So she saves it, and then he goes, did I at least get the pasta right? And somehow he's managed to burn the pasta.
No.
So
Okay, so let's look. Okay, I think we've done this, but let's briefly look at all the women because it won't take long.
no.
We have Bella, a classic Mary Sue. She's a nothing girl doing nothing and with no character.
Needs
and
help constantly.
She needs help constantly. She can do nothing on her own. And yet the entire story revolves around her and all the men are in love with her.
Yes.
Okay, there's Emily, the wolf girl who does not get to be a wolf because patriarchy. Okay, there's Jessica. You know how we feel about Jessica.
Justice for Jess.
There's Alice, who is quirky, and she's, I think, is maybe like the closest. Alice and Rosalie are, I think, like the closest things we have to developed female characters. They're both still very one note. We don't know any. We know almost nothing about Alice. The one thing we do know is that she died or was dying while she was in an asylum, and we don't know anything else, and we don't care. We're never going to talk about it again. I think Rosalie is actually the most developed female character. I just decided because Rosalie has a very interesting backstory. I think we learn in the future, maybe in the next book, about how she was killed. She was assaulted by men on the street, and she was left to die. And Carlisle saved her, and she fucking hates this existence, and she wants to die. AKA, she would have picked the bear.
Which is interesting, you know, like, because that happens. I feel like the saving Edward is very valiant, right? Like it was a teenager and his mom begged, very, very Les Mis. You begged, please save my child.
Please save my child. Yeah. You can totally see how that would pull at Carlisle's heartstrings.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the other, especially Esme, to make the decision to take your own life and then to have that decision taken away from you, is really fucked up. And she's like, "It's fine. I've got a big heart, and that's my power. I love my family."
Oh my God! Stop. Have we learned about Esme's past, or are we going to learn about it in a future book? Because I know we learn about Rosalie and Jasper and a couple other of the
Esme was
vampires.
touched on in Twilight.
Okay. Yep. So all these women suck except Rosalie. I think that the most important thing about Rosalie is that all of her behavior in the book series is informed by her backstory. You can draw a direct line from her backstory to the way she acts right now, and that is how you build a character.
Yeah.
The same thing with Jacob. I think that's another reason why I like Jacob so much, is because he's one of the only characters where he has a past. His past informs the person he is. His present changes, and his behavior changes in a very specific way that only makes sense for him based on all those factors.
Do we remember, or do we ever learn what happened to Jacob's mom? Just curious.
I don't know. I
don't have any memory of that.
This is the first thing I've Googled this whole episode.
Jacob Black's mama.
Died in a car crash when he was 9. Oh, he reflects on her death in Breaking Dawn. Spoilers.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's about time for us to wrap it up. I have a couple random things that I want to just really random. On page 12, there's this quote that made me laugh. Attention is never a good thing, as any other accident-prone klutz would agree. No one wants a spotlight when they're likely to fall on their face. Bella, I would like to introduce you to Leela and Christina. Disproven your point over here.
We love a spotlight.
We love a spotlight. Watch me fall.
So funny.
I also put a note here to discuss her thrill seeking in the context of her being clumsy. I don't think we need to. It just makes her extra dumb.
It is so dumb. It's so dumb. I guess because she's like, I don't care if I get hurt or die. At least I'll be able to hear his honey velvet voice that she says 1,000 times.
Yeah.
His voice was like honey, even though it was angry.
I think the reason it's funny is because she's like, I don't care if I get hurt or die, so I'm going to ride a motorcycle and jump off a cliff. No, why don't you just walk down the street? I also liked on page 522, Edward took off running. She is on his back. Even after all this time, it felt routine, easy. Evidently, this was something you never forgot, like riding a bicycle. Bitch, I would love to watch Bella try to ride a bicycle. Show me how, honey.
Her. I don't think she can do it.
On page 144, Bella is carrying and using a checkbook. Which, like, I do get it. She probably doesn't have a debit or credit card yet. She just started earning her own money, but it is very funny that she is like out on the town shopping with a checkbook.
Yeah, it's like somebody's grandma, you know?
Yes. And then my last note is that the acknowledgments at the very end, we learn Stephanie Meyer, the author, her siblings are named Emily, Heidi, Paul, Seth, and Jacob.
Oh.
Okay. Emily is Wolf Girl. Heidi is a human receptionist that works for the Volturi. Paul, who's Paul?
That sounds familiar.
Are Paul and Seth both werewolves, I think?
Seth is a werewolf for sure.
And then Jacob is her brother, and like,
ew, that's
she
weird.
wrote him as a love interest. She wrote him as the very obviously physically hotter love interest. I think that's really weird and gross. I do. I really
agree. There's some weird shit going on with that girl.
Yeah, I think we should do a whole episode with Takena just about her and her Mormonism and her influences and stuff like that.
I agree.
We'll shout you out, Takena, in 2 years when we finish the series. Anything else, Leela?
I don't think so. I think that we pretty much touched on all the hot points.
Yeah. I will say that as much complaining as we've done, I enjoyed this the whole time and I ate it up. I really, really am enjoying rereading these books, and I will do so again in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there was many parts that annoyed me, mostly to do with the narrative, like just and Bella's inner thoughts and
Bella.
such.
All of Bella.
All of Bella, yeah, really. Which sucks since we have to spend so much time inside her head, but
Yeah, it's true.
Tina, do you think that New Moon by Stephanie Meyer is horny, sad, or just plain bad?
Oh God. It is all three.
Yeah, it really is.
My first instinct was horny.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me. But Jacob is very horny the whole time, and Bella is pining, which is a flavor of horny.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, but it's also sad because actually, no. Nope, it's not sad. It's horny bad. Horny bad. What do you think, Leela?
I think it's horny bad. I think it wants to be horny sad. But
yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah.
the problem is that she's so fucking annoying that I don't.
I'm sorry, I don't know why that just tickled me. The problem is she's so fucking annoying. That's like sums up the whole series. 1 star. The problem is she's so fucking annoying.
Because I think like they want us to really feel bad for her, but all I feel is that she is doing this to herself. Because like you said, Tina, heartbreak is so vivid at the moment, but it has been months and months and months, and the only thing keeping that wound bleeding is you fixating on it.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
and giving yourself nothing else in your whole world.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be horny bad. Okay. Horny bad.
Hell yeah.
Thanks to all of our listeners for joining us during our very first year of our beloved podcast. We couldn't do it without you guys. So
yeah,
we love you.
We love you. Well, that's it for Burn Before Reading.
Until next week, remember,
your cringe is part of you,
but only a velvety, soft, sweet part of you.
Okay, wait, I think that's really cute though, because we were so young back then.
Oh,
you're so
right.
Sweet and soft. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, great.
Thanks for listening to Burn Before Reading.
Created by me, Christina Kahn.
Hosted and produced by Christina Kahn and me, Leela Hilton.
Logo designed by Michael Hardison. Follow him on Instagram at RoyGBivRVA or check out his work at wildlingpress.com.
Theme music by Sakura Wishes.
Find me online at Christina Kahn.
And find me at Leels for Reels.
Follow the podcast on Instagram and Tumblr at BurnBeforePod.
Or feel free to give us an email at burnbeforepod@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, friends.
See you next time.
Dave X Media.